Aurora Borealis, Fairbanks, Alaska. The light was speaking to me, stretching out its long, gleaming fingers, pointing down. Maybe it could hear my shout. Shimmering green parentheses put me in my place. My place was low. Every earthbound element, Alaska gas, Sam's sourdough cafe, lifting into radiance. Snow felt less cold. Tiny human leaping under green swoops, rippled fringes, staggering swish, middle of night, by myself, not by myself. I came so close, almost felt more than I had been waiting for. What possible tellings? Purple, purple, purple. You saw nothing, knew nothing before now. Now, what do you know? From early childhood, the aurora was one of the 5 things in the world I most wanted to experience. The pyramids in Egypt was another, but I would say the aurora definitely beat them out. So a few poems from the pandemic period. Poem menu. And this goes back to thinking of a college friend, and we're still very close friends, and how easy it always was to talk to her about the hardest things. Dear Chula, remember how discussing simple phrases gave the greatest pleasure? To be out of sorts or beside oneself, for example, because when did people ever feel in sorts or inside oneself, or mention when they did? Somehow our echoes, floating conversations from college days are helping me hold the quarantine more kindly. We're all okay, but just this moment, how many gasp and die? Who could not feel out of one's mind? While we putter around our cozy homes, staying safe and sane as all the letters finish now, the count ticks up. Feeling beside myself at every minute for you and you. Here's my hope. Those surviving will get a menu, a set of memories still to think about, an unfinished song, new plans, a group of phrases folded on a beautiful card, like the poem menus on hospital trays in Ireland. The poems for patients I was asked to pick one year, all 22 of them, from writers big and small, voices one might wish to meet beside the pudding or Jell-O. It was the best job I ever had. While recovering from surgery or sickness, a patient would find a surprise toast to back to life. Slow time, succulent words, nicely arranged. And maybe feel their own groggy heads echoing response. Oh, that reminds me of. Then something more to think about. How millions are wishing you all longer lives, ourselves as well. But where is hither and yon, for example? Do they have the virus there? As many of us have been doing for months now, I've been going through drawers and files and baskets and weeding things out. And I found a very touching note from a young boy in a very remote Texas town where I worked once. Actually, I was staying on a ranch with some local residents. And that day when it was time, my first day to go to school, they said, why don't you just leave your car here and take our horse? And the horse will cross the land and it will be a much shorter ride to the school. And I said, but I don't know where the school is from your house. And they said, don't worry, the horse knows. And it amazes me in retrospect that I actually did it, that for days afterward, I took the horse. So this is called The Road Between San Antonio and Comstock, Texas. I think of it as a bloodline, clean thread stretching west, the mind emptying so gently as it ranged farther from billboards, chains, farther from access roads, exits, deeper into sky. That road is why I love this state. Despite politics, pronouncements, the boy called Cody in Comstock, who wrote me a year after I visited his class. Basically, poetry changed everything. It made me see where I was. Could you please come back and stay forever? Finding his letter again 30 years later, looking him up to learn he died young, a cowboy hat over his downturned face. I want to say, your roads are still stretching outwards, the fields you walked through. We are here, soaking in the mystery of time, trapped in our little houses, scared of a virus, feeling connected through the spaces, all of these new ways. And I remember you. Solitude. He said he moved to a bucket inside a cave. I opened a box that had been closed 20 years to find sleeping letters written to a remote satellite person. I tried to welcome, remember her at least. Who was this Margaret sending missives from Kodiak, Alaska? Now was the time to think more deeply of them all. Children of Gaza trapped in tiny rooms, beautiful people camped, exhausted along the Rio Grande, patting the masa, stirring the beans, on a fire made of sticks inside a ring of stones, no idea what came next. Could we ever know how much had been survived when we had the same house keys so many years? We could not know. No, we could not know. Our tiny antennae reached out, trembling, hoping for a message, clear advice on how to help. We were stunned by the smallness of our worlds. Here is the edge of your street, 3 scrappy leaves. From which tree did they fall? Here, the wrapper from someone else's gum. I could pick up trash without seeing anyone. No one would breathe on us in the iron chair back of the house beside the bamboo. Machines to connect us to the outside world. And now we would eat applesauce from cups, bake a batch of biscuits, feel the quiet settling down like a sheen of future disappearances when no one will answer the number we call. 1. A delivery man pounded the door. The boy said, "That shook my bones." Only months ago, before this happened, on the brink, at the edge, I kept saying something really big and weird is about to happen. No one responded or would say, "Isn't this weird enough already?" At his father's funeral in Libya, everyone told Khalid, "I zina wahad," our grief is one. Under the differences, beyond the many years we did not speak together, wahad. When the sun sinks low, we will both be watching it, perplexed. I told the boy I had a bad dream. He said, "Have a new one." Thank you all for listening. I haven't read new poems in a quick succession like this. I'll just read one more new one and then close with a slightly slightly older one, but dedicate it to the need to vote. So this one is called I Miss Myself When I'm Not Here, which is a quote from Connor James Nye, age 4. The easy come and go of slipping into strangers' world, hotel lobby breeze by, comfort zone in unknown air. Where are the people we rode elevators with? How are they doing? The child asked what floors they were going to. That's really high. Passing on a walk, crossing at a light, were secret luxuries. When we were little, our father took us to the airport to watch people departing, arriving. It moved him. He had tears in his eyes. There was no security. He was homesick for a homeland. We are homesick for a homeland. And from a recent book called Castaway, which is a book about trash and picking up trash, my lifelong favorite hobby, which came out right on the brink of the pandemic. So right before nobody wanted to touch anything. I guess not so good for a book, but it felt a little bit ironic. This book came out, and I am just about ready to be restored to my habit of picking things up. But I wanted to, so sorry, I thought I had it marked. I wanted to read one dedicated to the president none of us voted for. At least I'm speaking for the people I know in this house. Here it is. So please vote, and please get everyone you know who says voting is beneath them to vote. I don't know, it may be too late to register now. I've been working on a 40-year-old person who has never voted, and he was right on the brink of registering, so I don't know what his final decision was, but please do your best. The president we did not vote for keeps doing things we do not like. Why are we surprised? The president we did not vote for talks uglier than the bully in grade school who actually did not talk much, but tripped and punched. A critic wrote, he expels words out of his mouth like evicted tenants. The president we did not vote for does not feel like a president at all, which is why we keep staring at the 2-year-old who did not vote for anyone to see what captures his interest. If you show him a shark, he says, no, see that, which is how I feel about the president I did not vote for. The 2-year-old loves a book called Egg, perhaps the most perfect book ever made. Simple, strong, it does not contain a single extra note. The 2-year-old loves black paint in the paint box most. It is bravest on the page. He loves a green crayon, but does not like the point worn down. If he drops his cracker, he picks it up and throws it in the trash, which suggests he will grow up to be a noble person. I remember being told when I was somewhat older than 2 that growing up is full of trouble and disappointment, and how we deal with it makes us who we are. And right now, that is certainly true. Thank you.